His abiding passion, though, is the charitable work for refugees in Lebanon, to which he has devoted himself for almost 20 years, and for which he was awarded the CBE last year. Looking back, he says he was always struck by the hospitality and humanity of those caught up in wars, their generosity to strangers, and it is something that he says he has tried in his own small way to pass on. He is, of course, Chris Wyrecliffe. Wyrecliffe squirmed slightly as she went on to outline his junior schooling at Ripley in Yorkshire, where the geography master once called him too clever by 3/4, and then his time at Bradford Grammar School, where he was caned on at least 4 occasions. His school report, mostly glowing, still made frequent use of the word insolent. He laughed again. "So, when you were growing up as a little boy in the Yorkshire Dales, had you always wanted to be a reporter?"
"No, not at all," he said, describing instead a boyhood passion for cricket and, with adolescence, rugby. "A place beside Geoffrey Boycott would have suited me fine." Desert Island Discs, the oldest and most reflective of celebrity shows, asks the interviewee to imagine they were marooned on a desert island with little more than a record player for company, and to pick the 8 pieces of music that would help them survive. Wyrecliffe's first choice was Bach's B minor Mass, which brought back memories of his time as a chorister. After broadcasting an excerpt, Young probed his days at Oxford's Balliol College, where he studied politics, philosophy and economics. "You gained a 2-2, which some would say was a disappointment of early promise." "I can't argue with that."
"Oxford, you have said, was where you discovered girls," she said. "Indeed, one of your contemporaries said your success with women was the cause of much envy."
"Well, I'm not sure about that. At that age, it's the central preoccupation of most males. I wasn't much different."
Kirsty Young referred to the substantial fan mail he now received as a radio personality. She alluded to an excerpt from one letter addressed to him at the BBC back in 2006, which the Daily Mail had got hold of and published. It was from a woman who, despite being happily married to a barrister, wrote, "I fancy you rotten, and wouldn't mind being serenaded along Venice's Grand Canal just to listen to your rich, chocolatey voice." Another had written that while listening to him introduce a news item on the grouse shooting season, she fantasized about being borne away to the moors on a dark horse by a large hirsute Heathcliff figure with the voice of Mr. Wyrecliffe, and under whom she was prepared to suffer any beastliness, any depravity. Relief arrived with a recording of Humphrey Lyttelton jazz, and then a series of still more personal questions. Had he been expected to lose his Yorkshire accent during his early BBC days? It wasn't true, and he hadn't. No, there'd been no voice coaching either, though an early nicotine craving, dispatched almost the day he gave up his addiction to war zones, had perhaps added a deeper timbre. What about that beard?
"I started wearing a beard out of laziness when I was reporting in the field," he said. "It's a bit more neatly trimmed now. I'm always surprised when listeners discover my picture on the Radio 4 website and see I have facial hair and say they're surprised, even annoyed, because that isn't how they imagine me."
"Annoyed?"
"Oh, yes," he laughed. "I've destroyed a piece of mental furniture. You imagine someone one way, listen to them every day for years, and they turn out to look different. It scrambles the picture you get in your head next time you listen."
Desert Island Discs, traditionally famous for fawning to the famous, was now expected to get underneath a guest's skin. The next question didn't come as much of a surprise. "Now, I must ask you about the A-Levels scratch card incident," Young said. Wyrecliffe had a particularly unpleasant interview on Today a year ago with a bumptious education minister. The question was asked why it was that A-level results had got better every year without a break for 15 years, if not through becoming easier. The minister had doggedly stuck to the party line: good students, better teaching, and restructured education. Marking, he said, had not been softened one jot. The interview made the papers because Wyrecliffe had been heard to say after the minister departed, and supposedly off-air,
"When A-levels are given out on scratch cards, he'll finally be able to get his own."
"That wasn't very fair, was it?" Young asked.
"No, absolutely not," Wyrecliffe laughed. "But the minister and I have since had a good chuckle about it."
This wasn't quite true. The ministry had made an